Good morning. I woke up kind of late today. I'm in the creative space. Can y'all see that? I'm about to open up some windows, let some light in here, take care of my plant babies, and get my day started. So that's what we're about to do. Can y'all see that? Wait, let's see if it'll focus. Focus. All right, y'all can't see that, but this is a little baby alocasia that I've been trying to get to sprout for a minute. Out of 7 of them, this is the last one to sprout. So this one's gonna be really small. And usually the small ones don't make it, but she's a fighter. All right, so it's nice and light in here now. Now that I've got the windows open, I've got my little light on. It's not as stuffy in here. I'm gonna check on some paintings that I was doing. I've got a couple that are in the process of drying, and I've got a few that I wanna go ahead and get started on today. But before I do anything, I gotta feed my fur babies because they're hungry. The doggo's knocking at the door already. And the cats are crying in the background. I hope you can't hear them, but you probably can. But I'm gonna go take care of that. And I'm gonna come back in here, do a little bit of tidying up, because I don't know if y'all could see it, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. To me, it was looking kind of dirty, but it's not that bad. So, anyways, we're gonna work on that, and then we'll come back. We're gonna get situated, start painting. Well, not painting. We're gonna start a digital piece first. I gotta finish a mock-up. We'll see how that looks, and then we'll get started with the painting, because this is our 9 to 5, y'all. So we gotta treat it like a 9 to 5. Callie, Luna. Those are the girls. They're awake. She's an asshole, and she knows it. Callie's as sweet as a puppy. Hold on, where's Scoob? Where's the handsome boy? Oh, it won't focus. Hey. He's a big old doofy boy. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Oh, don't lick it. Don't lick the camera. Nasty. And these are some of the many of the books I own. Ooh, have y'all ever read this? This series, John Dies at the End? Crazy. I love this freaking series. I would read all 4 of these over and over and over again if I could. If you haven't read this, you need to read it. By Jason Perigin. I said that completely wrong, but it's okay. David Wong is the same guy. So those are the same people. Type in one of those and you'll get this series. All right, there we go. What's up? I had to change out of my jacket because it was hot in here. I said I was just gonna do a little bit of tidying up. I started going ham. Let me turn you around and show you. So this is what we're working on. This was a mess. I got just stuff in that corner over there. And I just want to organize it. Now I'm gonna flip you around again. This is looking good. It's busy, yes, but it's neat. I know where everything's at. I'm gonna go ahead and put my other picture up here because I think it's gonna look dope. And then I have these shelves that I made forever ago just from some leftover wood. So I'm gonna put these up here so I can put my records up here next to my little musical section. I don't play piano, y'all, but I like it because it's cute. And I think I'm gonna move these plants and put them over here. We'll see. But y'all, we started going ham. So I'm gonna finish this up. It's, what time is it? It's like 10 something. It's 10:04. So I'm gonna finish this up hopefully in the next 30 minutes, or I'm gonna get close. Ooh, can't see me. I'm gonna finish this up in the next 30 minutes, or I'm gonna get close to finish, and then we will officially start the workday. You're like missing the nail. I know. Keep holding it. All right. So, is this thing on? It is on. Y'all ain't gonna guess what happened to me, and maybe you will because you were just watching the video. I was installing my shelves. I thought I was installing the shelves, and the damn thing fell on my head. And you know, looking back, it was my fault. Like, I don't know why I thought it was secure, but I thought it was secure in the wall. And I let go to nail the other screws in there. And I mean, that was real ghetto what I was doing, but I did not expect that thing to fall on my head. Thank goodness my hair took most of the weight, but oh my God, that hurt. That hurt so damn bad. So anyways, that was at what, 11:30 ish. It is now 2:14. I had to take a break. I thought I was gonna pass out. I thought I was gonna fall, but I'm good. No headache, no nothing. Everything's good. It seemed a lot worse than it actually was. I will probably insert that clip because I think it's kind of funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. Anyways, we took a break. We're back now. I didn't get to eat breakfast because I took a pause. I was kind of just resting in bed. So I'm having my first meal of the day at about 2:15, 2:20. So I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna enjoy this. I will go ahead and show you what I've done so far. Let me see, can y'all see that? First of all, there's kind of an echo in here right now. That's how much stuff was in here. It's crazy that just cleaning up a little bit and getting rid of some trash will change your whole space like that. It's wild. Anyways, let me flip you around so you can kind of see what I did. So that's a little paint corner. That didn't really change much. Hold on, let me get up. All right, so that's my chair. Plant corner didn't change a whole bunch. I did put my pictures up there like wifey suggested. She was right. It looks amazing. I want more of my artwork all over the place too. Like, I need to rep myself more. That's the little paint corner right there. Hasn't changed much. Later I'll show you guys that the closet in here. I got all my art supplies and stuff in there. This is my wall. Let me get back. That's not like my mom. This is my house. Alright, so this is my wall, my collection of like prints from other artists, things I like, concerts I've been to, all that good stuff. And then we go flip you around. This is the piano now. This is that area. A lot cleaner, a whole bunch cleaner. Right now, the records are gonna hang out here because they were supposed to go on the shelf, but the shelf fell on my damn head. So they're gonna stay here for now until I can get some anchors and my drill, because I don't have my drill right now. So I need to get my drill. And then up here, I'm just gonna tape some more of my prints, some stuff I'm proud of that I did, because this wall is kind of lame right now and it needs some decor. I don't know why you did that. Don't nobody want to hear me eat.
Did you show your burrito?
No.
POTS friendly food.
I haven't explained that yet.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's another video.
But if you are eating things that you know aren't good for you consistently, you're not just eating it, it is eating you. It is taking your life away. It is robbing you of your own joy, your own life force, your own essence, your own vitality. And this is all about being calm. If you want to be calm, you have to be nourishing yourself. You have to be a great observer and see. In the morning time, when you eat cereal, how do you feel? Oh, your mind's a little bit wired. You struggle to focus. Well, push that sugar away.
Fix that. All right. Love. Okay, there we go. So, I'm back. Wifers is still watching her baddie stuff. So, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my sketchbook, and I figured we could just do a little, I don't know. You know what I'm feeling today? I'm feeling like today I want to talk about being your own biggest fan, because I feel like that is so important. So let me grab my sketchbook. Hold up, and then we'll come back to the art corner. I'm back. Can y'all see my newest painting? Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Can y'all see my newest painting? I did that. Check it out. Wait, me. That's Adam. Ooh, he looked kind of funky with the camera turned around like that. Hold up, let me grab it. Oh, that's my face. No, zoom out. This right here, we're gonna zoom out a little bit. This is my newest painting, Adam. I'll insert a clip of this somewhere in the video. But I love this piece. And like I said, today I want to talk about being your own biggest fan. I love this piece because emotionally it means a lot to me. Hold up, let me put Adam back there. Bring y'all a little closer. Sorry, I had to pause that real quick. Anyways, yeah, I want to talk about being your own biggest fan. And I want to talk about that because that's been my journey thus far, really having to play that part of, well, let me backtrack. I don't want to say having to, because I am a lot more fortunate than most in the sense that I've always had a fan group. And when I say fan group, pause, I'm not like cocky or whatever. When I say fan group, I mean like I've had supporters. That's what I want to say. I've always had supportive people in my life. Like, you know, my parents, most parents are like, oh, you want to go to art school? Like, why would you do that? Be a lawyer, be a doctor, be a nurse, blah, 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 whatever. Do something else. My parents were like, oh, you want to go to art school? All right, do it. We'll pay for it. You know, well, not they'll pay for it. I got loans and stuff, but they helped me a lot. My dad, when I was little, I have this memory of him. Well, I'll get back to that in a second. Anyways, I've always had a really good support system. You know, my parents put me through art school. They believed in me. They told me to go for it. They've never been one to be like, oh, but you know, that's a hobby. You should get a real job, you know? And it's funny, thinking back, actually, I'm in school now. I'm getting my master's in marketing, right? Which is very corporate compared to being in school for like fine art, illustration, and graphic design, and oil painting, and all that stuff. Two completely different things. So when I told my parents I was getting my master's in marketing, I remember my dad going, really? How is that going to relate to your field? Like, that's what you want to do? And I remember going, yeah, like it will help me market myself as an artist, you know? And he was like, oh, okay. So they've always been really supportive of, you know, my dreams and wanting to pursue art as a career. Now, don't get it twisted. Being an artist, being a creative on your own, owning your own company, that's hard. It's really, really hard. And it is really nice when you have that support system, but not everybody has that. You know, my parents have always been there for me. My wife was there for me, even when we weren't married, when we were dating. She was always super supportive. My brother, one of my biggest fans, wifey, biggest fan ever. She might be more of a fan of my work than I am of my work. And she hates my work. Not like that, but like
You ain't gonna see her put it on the wall, but you gonna see her hyping me up, no matter what the fuck weird shit I'm painting. So yeah, I've always been fortunate to have that support team. Now, what I did wrong was that I relied too heavily on that support team. And I'm not about to say anybody let me down or anything like that. No. What I'm going to say is I started working so hard to please other people, to make other people proud of me, to make people's belief in me worth it. You know, like that was my goal, to make people's belief in me worth it for them, you know? So I stopped doing stuff for myself. There's no way I'm going to be drawing while I'm doing this. So we might doodle a little bit, but we're not going to get nothing done. Anyways, yeah, I stopped working to make myself proud, and I started working to make everybody else proud, you know? And bring that a little closer. Anyways, that's where I messed up, because you should always be your own biggest fan. And when you're going for something as crazy as, you know, being a creative, being a small business owner, anything like that, where you have to kind of hype yourself up and all that good stuff, you have to be your biggest support team. You have to be your hype man. Because if you're not, and you're just trying to please other people, you're going to be miserable real fast, you know? And it took me the first year or so, I became serious about King, Art by the King and all that, my small business. It took me about a year to be like, oh shit, yeah, I need to be my biggest fan, you know? And I'm telling you, once I flipped the switch and I started hyping myself up, like, yeah, it's nice to have other people do it, but when I was like, yeah, I like what I just did. Yeah, I did that. That's amazing. Oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Everything changed, you know? And I'm not saying that like, ooh, I'm selling prints and paintings left and right all day, every day. Like, no, it's not even about that. It's my work changed. You know, my skills got better. You know, I became more determined. You know, I was proud of what I was doing. You know, I wasn't just making artwork to, you know, make a sale or, you know, put some money in my pocket or whatever. I started making work that I wanted to see on my own walls. You know, I started making work that I could be like, damn, that's cool. I like that. You know, and that's what it's all about. And it's not just if you're like an artist like me or a graphic designer or whatever, you know, and you do have to pay the bills. That's true. But there's a balance that has to happen. And when you don't find that balance and you lose faith in yourself like that, you know, things start to go south real fast. And I could probably talk about this all day, because when I started believing in myself and you know, drawing for me and creating for me, I'm gonna start drawing now, everything changed, you know. I was able to grow my following. I was proud of myself. I woke up excited to work on my craft and things like that, you know, like, and that's what it's about. Y'all gonna see the top of my head a lot for this, I'm sorry. But that's what it's about, you know. It's about making yourself proud. It's about making stuff that you want to make, you know. And again, there's a balance, you know. I think if you're like in graphic design or I don't know, you illustrate children's books or something like that, obviously, you know, you're working with clients and you have to kind of give a little to get a little. But there's a difference between coming to an agreement and making needed changes. I don't know why that did that. Versus just doing everything for everybody but yourself. Do y'all get me? Y'all get what I'm trying to say? You have to say no sometimes. You got to say no to some of these projects. You got to say no to things that don't serve you, you know, and you got to say no to everybody else being your hype man all the time. You know, you need to be your biggest fan. And so right now, I am fighting with myself to kind of get back in that mindset. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. So I recently went through a health scare, but it's been going on for a minute. Nothing super serious. At the time, I thought it was serious. I really did, but it wasn't. A few years ago, I thought I had carpal tunnel, and I was unable to paint for about, God, 3 years at least, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, give or take, but about 3 years. And I was miserable. I was devastated. I was just unhappy, right? And then a bunch of other stuff happened. I'm not going to get into it because I just want to talk about the art for this video. But anyways, come to find out, in November of 2024, I had my health scare, and basically everything that had happened to me health-wise the last couple years before that had to do with what I was recently diagnosed with. Again, nothing serious. That's another video. I don't really want to talk about that right now, but I was just, when it all happened, I had a moment of, oh shit, I'm about to hit my reset button. And it's funny now, but at the time it wasn't. At the time it was like, damn, you know, I wish I had made better choices for myself, you know, like I wish I had done more stuff to make myself happy. I wish I had pursued, you know, my art career more. Because at one point, this is what I'm getting at, bear with me. At one point later on down the line, you know, before I got sick and all that, I kind of fell off on being my biggest fan. You know, I kind of let other people take that title from me. You know, I let other people hype me up. I started working to please other people, whether it be when it came to my paintings or my digital work or just my everyday like life. I was really working hard to please other people and make them believing in me worth it for them, you know? And that led me to pursuing a career I should have left a long time ago, and just not knowing when to stop. You know, I kept going because I don't consider myself a quitter at all. Like that's another thing I'm working on. I have too much pride sometimes, and I'm unable to say no, you know, or I was, because that's not true now. But I was unable to say no. I'm sorry, I can't, I'm not capable, can't do it right now, maybe next time. Those words could not come out of my mouth when it came to my work ethic, you know? And it was hard, dude. Like, it was hard. It was hard to get into that mindset again, because I started working to please everybody else, you know? And when you start pleasing everybody else for so long, you forget what it is you actually want. And again, stay with me. So I had this health scare. I was scared shitless. And I had a moment of, oh my God, this is it. I'm gonna hit that reset button, and I am not proud of what I'm leaving behind. And that's when it hit me. Yo, you need to be happy. You know, you gotta be your hype man. You had every opportunity to get yourself out of all these situations, and you ain't take it. And obviously I did not hit the reset button. Thank goodness. And again, it wasn't as serious as I thought it was at the time. It's just scary when your health is suddenly in question out of nowhere, you know? But we got all that figured out. Everything's good now. But yo, that caused me to quit my job, just up and quit. I gave my 3-4 month notice because I like them. They're still fam. But I gave my notice in November, December. This is, what month is this? May? The end of April is my last month doing anything. And right now I'm barely doing anything. I'm taking some calls from home here and there, but that's it. But for me, that was me learning to be my own hype man. You know, I played it safe for so long. We all do it, you know, and I'm not blaming other people for what I did. I'm just saying it's human nature to want to feel safe and secure, you know, to want to feel that warm feeling you get when people are like, yeah, good job, like, congratulations, you know, like, you're doing good, you're doing all the right stuff. You know, we want that. What we don't want is for people to look at us like we crazy when we take a risk, when we do something out of the ordinary, when we up and leave our job because we can, you know, and we can. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. And I'm not saying go ahead and quit your shit right now. I'm not saying that at all. Everybody's different. You got to go your own journey. You know, you got to ride that wave however you can. But if you have the opportunity and you can take it and you know it'll make you happy, why not give it a shot? You know? Why not be your hype man? Why not tell yourself, yeah, we can make this happen? And so that's what this is about for me today. That's what I want to talk about. Let me get my ass to drawing. But, you know, that's all I'm saying. You know, for me, that caused me to getting back to being my own hype man. You know, like it changed my perspective on so much because somewhere along the lines I got a little lost. You know, I got lost and I didn't know how to get back. You know, and I feel like the universe, whatever's out there, kind of popped me upside the head a little bit and said, yo, wake the fuck up. Like, this ain't it. This is not what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. You have another mission, you have another purpose. And if you're not going to chase it, if you can't figure it out, we're going to shove your ass in the right direction. And that's what happened. You know, I had a hard ass shove in the right direction. But you know what? I'm not complaining. I am grateful for that fucking shove. I am. Because if that hadn't happened, I would still be working however many hours I was working at this other place. And again, it wasn't a bad job. It was a great job. It was cushy. It was nice. You know, it paid the bills. But it wasn't what I wanted. You know? And like I said, I got so used to everybody being like, yeah, good job, King. Like, you're doing what you're supposed to. I appreciate you for doing this. You know, keep it up, blah, blah, blah. And I lost myself along the way. So I started a minute ago, but just for shits and giggles, tonight is going to be the night we mark the official journey of being our own hype person. You know, like, I'm gonna be my own hype man. I'm gonna get back to being my own hype man, and I'm really excited for this journey. You know, I've been working day and night nonstop on perfecting not perfecting, nothing's perfect, right? But on organizing my space, on creating, on video. I was gonna say video chatting. We're not video chatting. On trying to, you know, forget about being so nervous about everything. Not everything has to be so curated, so perfect all the time. Sometimes you could just say, fuck it, and take out your camera phone, your video camcorder, whatever you got, and just go for it. You know, if you got some Walmart paint or some Five Below paint in the back and you want to paint something, you don't need to wait until you can get Winsor and Newton. Just fucking paint, you know? You don't have to wait until you have enough savings all the time. But, you know, you do you. Be safe. I'm not saying go up and quit again. You got to do you. But you don't, there's never a perfect moment to do anything. You know? Sometimes you just have to go for it. And I feel like the earlier we can get that in our brains, the better off we'll be. Because when you start realizing those things later on in life, you know, better late than never, right? But it's so much harder to get out of that mindset the older you get, because you hit your 30s. I'm in my 30s, and you hit 30, excuse me, and you start to think about, I need a savings, I need life insurance. Well, you probably think about that a lot more, a lot, closer to your 20, 25, whatever. But for me, for me, I started thinking about, life insurance and health insurance and dental and all the bills and stuff. They really they get to you, and I feel like a lot of the times we're so we've been trained to operate a certain way in today's society. And we don't have to do that. There are other ways to pay your bills, like if you need money real fast, there's Uber Eats. You can be creative, you can make your own work. You can work on your own time. You don't have to work for a company necessarily, like there's just so much out there. And I feel like for today's generations, we're finally awakening to this idea that there's a shift that, yeah, we deserve better. We should treat ourselves better. We should be our hype people. We should be our own biggest fan. So, I don't know. I think that's really important. If you're not going to do it, how do you expect somebody else to do it? That's like if you can't make yourself happy, why would you rely on somebody else to do it? That person leaves, and what are you going to do? Like, you're going to be miserable. And why would you put yourself in that situation? And why would you put that pressure on somebody else? Especially if it's somebody you care about. Like, people don't deserve to have that pressure put on them. I'm getting stuffy. It's not my parents' job to hype me up when I go to an art show. Like, am I grateful that they do it? Yeah. Like I like that praise, but do I need it? No, I don't, because I'm going to praise myself. I just slapped the shit out of this mic because I'm going to praise myself. Is it nice that my wife is supportive and believes in me? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It gets me going, like it makes me want to do better. But if she couldn't be that supportive, would I still be doing this? Yes. Because I got to do it for me. And the moment we forget to do things for ourselves, things they become dull, like things stop mattering as much. And that's no way to live your life. Like, you got you, I got me. And if we have that understanding, there's nowhere to go but up. But we have to help ourselves and be there for ourselves before we can expect other people to do any of that. Like, it's not somebody else's job to take care of you, as if you're fully capable. And we've just been trained to think that we need this security, that we shouldn't take these risks, that we should fit in, and we don't have to fit in. And that's another thing. Like, I'm so sick of people being like, oh, you're an artist, what's your real job? Like, bro, this is my real job. Or whenever I say, oh yeah, I quit my job, like the horror on people's faces is crazy. Like, people don't seem to get that you can be happy and not live in a conventional kind of way. Like, I have never been happier This is probably one of the happiest moments in my life. I say one of them because I can name a few that compare to this, but just knowing that this is coming out nice, just knowing that I have the freedom to do what I got to do to try and make this work is, I don't know, it just, I'm not going to say thrilling because it's more than that. It drives me, you know, because you almost put yourself in a position where it's like, nah, there's no plan B. There's no plan C. There's only this, you know, like this is it. We're all in, all or nothing, you know, but I've always worked well under pressure, always. And I'm really excited to just see where this goes, you know, and even if I were to fail, you know, I know I won't. I see it. I'm not going to fail, but even if I were to fail, right, according to other people's standards, and I would be proud of myself because I've tried, you know. Yeah, I remember when I first started giving this my all. It was back in COVID when shit went down, when shit went down. You know, I'd always been a creative, but when COVID hit, I lost the job that I am currently working. It's the universe sent me so many signs, bruh. Like, so I'm gonna backtrack real fast. When I got this job, I was 21. No, I'm lying. I was turning 21, or maybe I had just turned 21. I am 31 right now. So I've been there for about 10 years, maybe a little less. Well, I would have been there for 10 years. I've been there for 9 years and some change. It's been a long time, dude. And just to kind of give you guys some perspective, I had a fun job. I was an art instructor and I managed a studio. And it was cool, you know, it was great. But for me, for the kind of person I am, it was one of those jobs you do between the age of like 18 and like 23, 24. I feel like that was my prime time, you know, between 21, which is when I got the job or when I was there with them, and about 25, honestly, 26 even. Those were my prime years, you know, late nights, crazy schedule, crazy schedule, you know, putting on a face to entertain people, basically faking it till you make it, right? Like, I wasn't me. I wasn't even king. I was an entertainer, you know, and I was managing a studio. I was managing a group of artists, and you know, I was good at it. I'm still really good at it. But around that time, the owner at the time, we were really close. I can't talk. We were really close. And I told her, listen, you know, I want to do other things. I want to pursue my career as an artist solo, and I want to see what happens. She was really supportive. She said, hell yeah, go for it, girl. And I said, okay, cool. So I put in my year notice. I don't know what's up with me and giving such a long span of time. You know what? I do know what's wrong with me. Like I said, we want that cushion. You know, we're used to having that cushion of, okay, well, if something happens, I almost drop my shit. If something happens, you know, I still got this lined up, you know? And that's what that job was for me. It was cushion in case something went wrong. So I put in my year notice. That year came and went. You know, the day I was supposed to leave, I didn't even say nothing. She didn't even say nothing. I just kept showing up. And that was that, you know? And it's crazy when I think about it now, because, and no shade to them. They were great people. They were awesome. But when I think about it now and I really put it into perspective, I feel like I was expected to stay, you know? Like, they knew that I wasn't going anywhere, because again, you crave that security, you crave that praise from other people, and I was getting a lot of both, you know. I was young, we were living in a really cheap apartment at the time, so the money was good. The money was good. It was really good. Better now, but it was good for what it was back then. um and yeah, the year came and went. I was still there. And it's funny, my year came and went, and during that time, I was told that they were going to sell the place, and I knew that, you know, I suspected that, and it was cool, you know. They warned me, they gave me plenty of time to do whatever I had to do. I stayed, and but I knew that it was time for me to go, and I didn't act on it. You know, my inner being told me, your time is up, dude. Like, what are you doing? You know? And I didn't listen. Oh, I like this little thumbnail. I'm sketching a little thumbnail from a dream I had. Let me show y'all this real quick. Can y'all see that? Y'all can't see that, but these are going to be paintings that I do. They're from a dream series I'm working on right now. Anyways, we're gonna fast forward. My time came and went, yo, and it had been over for a minute, and I just didn't want to admit that. I wanted that security. I wanted that backup plan in case this didn't work. And then COVID happened, and somebody else had bought the place. I feel really bad for them. They were really cool people, but my studio closed. It closed. They could not keep me. I wasn't fired, but I was, you know, kind of let go without being let go. Like, it closed down out of nowhere. Nobody expected it. And I remember one day being like, damn, did I get fired did I lose my job? Like, I lost my job. I was devastated, dude. Like, crazy devastated. We're gonna switch up the angle a little bit. I was crazy devastated. And excuse me. I was crazy devastated, and I didn't know what to do. So COVID came. It was a weird time for me. Thankfully, wifey still had a job. She was working hard to support us. She's a teacher. Love her. And but I didn't know what to do because I was used to having that security, you know. I wasn't used to I wasn't used to being in a position where I didn't know where to go. And again, I feel like the universe did it for a reason, you know, because what happened was, after going to Home Depot like every day and buying shit I didn't need to buy, and doing all these crazy ass projects that I'm not even good at. Like, I was trying to build shit. I can't build nothing. I'm not that kind of lesbian. But anyways, after going to Home Depot and, you know, trying to do all these crazy projects, I was like, you know what? Let me dive into put this up here. Can y'all hear me a little better? Yeah. I was like, let me dive into my craft. You know, let me get Art by the King up and running, you know? Oh, I'm stuffy. And I went for it. You know, I started my little business unofficially. I didn't get an LLC or anything at the time, but I started my little business. I even started a side gig for my small business where I was going to people and teaching classes and stuff, and it was working. It was working really well. Like, I was getting paid, and it was awesome. And I remember thinking, damn, I could have been doing this the whole time, you know? And I just didn't have that faith in myself like I thought I had. But then, you know, when shit hits the fan and we don't know what else to do, all you can do is fall back on what you know. And what I knew was how to be this quirky creative, you know. I knew how to use my intuition. I knew how to paint. I knew how to do readings. I knew how to do all that. And that's that, among other things. But that did give us some pocket change, you know. And it wasn't paying the bills left and right and having buku amounts left. No, but I was proud to be making them little $100 here and there. I sold that around that time. I sold the most original pieces ever I think I sold like 3 originals. Shortly after that, things started to get back to normal. I was still grinding. I still didn't have a job except my own small business I was working on. I was still doing the instructor stuff, but even that I stopped because I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I want to paint. I want to paint. I want to do readings. I want to create. I want to paint my dreams. I want to journal. Like, this is my thing. And so I got really into my spirituality. I started honing in on that. I kept a dream journal that inspired a lot of my artwork. And I was really going for it. And I started to do really good. And then, I got offered the same job that I had just lost at the same studio by different people who bought it. Again, love them. I've always been fortunate enough to work for some really awesome people, but I never wanted to work for people. I've always wanted to work for myself, and that's where I fucked up. So after wifey, convinced me to meet with them and everything, they were really cool. So I fell in love with the people they were, and that old me kicked in. I was like, you're expected to do this. You want that security. It would be nice to have a regular job where we can rely on the income and blah, blah, blah. And so I took it. I took it, and I stopped working on my website. I stopped advertising for myself. I stopped posting to social media. I even started this YouTube channel, I think, around that time. I told myself I was going to get serious about YouTube, and I didn't do any of that. How much time we got? Damn, this is a long ass video. 36 minutes. Whew, I'm going to have to edit this. Anyways, around that time, I started this YouTube channel. I told myself I was going to post. I posted 4 videos. 4 videos. And I don't like to hate on myself and what I do, because I think everything I do is awesome. And that's not me being cocky. That's me being confident in my abilities no matter what stage I'm in. Like, again, I am my own hype person, But I took the job. I stopped working on myself and my brand, and I let that kind of slip away. And it did. It slipped away. I stopped selling originals. I lost a bunch of followers. Not that that matters, but it mattered to me because it was showing how much work I was putting into my business. You feel me? Like, I was finally getting recognized for what I wanted to do, not what I felt like I had to do, So yeah, my business started tanking, dude. But I wasn't paying attention because I had this other job, and I had to focus on this job. I had to get the studio back up and running. I had to do what I was expected to do, And there was a time during all that where I was like, I'm going to try and go to art shows again. I'm going to try and do this, a little bit of that. And again, whenever I put my all into it, it took off, dude. Like, I started selling more originals. I think maybe a year after I got that job again, and I started doing art shows and stuff again. I was still working there, but I was trying to really separate my personal life and that part of my life, so I was focusing on my art and stuff still. And this was around 2021. This was like literally the year after COVID. So anyways, I started going to art shows and everything, and I started selling some pieces some more. I started selling a bunch of prints, like in a few hours, sitting outside, talking to people, showing them my work. So it was still like a 5 or 6 hour day outside, but it was a 5 or 6 hour day outside that I loved every second of. And dude, again, at the time it was good money, but I was making a couple $500, $600, $700 every time I did that. That was more than what I was making working an 8-hour shift at the studio, And so it was epic, I was so happy. And then I just stopped because work got a little bit more crazy. And again, when work gets crazy, you're expected to, put yourself back in it, figure it out, get shit situated. I'm cussing a lot, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's a flow sort of video right now. But yeah, I let it slip past me, and I stopped working on my shit. And I saw everything just blow up for my eyes. Not in a good way either. Sales tanked, everything tanked. I stopped, selling originals, which was really the bread and butter there. Yeah, I was so proud of myself, and then I just wasn't, And God, this is such a long story, but I'm saying all this to say you have to put all your energy into yourself before you even think about trying to give somebody else or other people the best version of you, because all that happened. I stopped working on my craft, and I was depressed, and then I got sick, and then I had so much regret, like I really thought I wasn't going to be able to paint again. I really thought that I would have to give all this up. And again, I feel like it was a sign from the universe, like this isn't what you want. Like, do you feel that regret in your heart? Like, you regret it because that's what was meant to be, You don't regret not being able to go into work. You regret not being able to do this shit back here, And so I stopped painting for about 2 or 3 years. And then fast forward to today, and in 2024, I get sick again. I figure out what it is. It's not life-threatening or anything like that. It's just shitty. I figure out how to cope with it and everything. I get on medication, and I quit my job. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I did it. I'm so freaking happy. Anyways, I'm so happy I did it because if I was still there, like mentally and physically, I would not be recording this video right now. Like I would be on my computer doing some shit for work that wasn't going to benefit me directly. Like, yeah, I was going to put some money in my pocket, but mentally and spiritually and all of that, like it wasn't doing anything for me, So yeah, dude, like be your own hype man. Sometimes you just gotta go for shit. Sometimes you gotta say fuck it and go for your dreams and just see if it works, and in my experience, 9 times out of 10, if you go for it and you really give it your all until you have nothing left to give, it's gonna work. Like there's nowhere to go but up once you hit your rock bottom, and in my situation, I feel like I already hit rock bottom, but I've never been happier to be on the very bottom. You know why? Because when you hit rock bottom, you got to climb out somehow. You can't just stay there. Like nothing gets worse than rock bottom. And if this is rock bottom, man, I can't wait to reach the top. Y'all feel me? Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Anyways, that was a long little ramble, little way of me saying, believe in yourself. If you put your all into it, at least you'll be happy that you tried, And so this is me trying, this is going to be my first video, my first day. I'm gonna mark today on the calendar. What day is today? Today is March 28th at 9:37 p.m. So March 28th is the day I decided to give my shit my all. Today is the day I decide that it's all or nothing. There's no going back. There's only moving forward. And it's gonna work. You gotta trust the process. You have to trust the process. And that's it. That's it. Anyways, again, I'm gonna have to edit the heck out of that video. I will be back. I'm gonna come back with a little time lapse of me doing some work. I got some pieces I'm working on. I'll throw them up here somewhere. I don't know why when I talk so much my nose gets stuffy. Like it's really freaking annoying because now I sound like Donald Duck. Like I did not sound like this an hour ago. But anyways, I'm gonna come back because I owe wifey a date. So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do my little we're gonna watch some TV, we're gonna watch the Hunger Games. And then probably around 11, 12 o'clock at night or 12 in the morning, whatever. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna break out the oil paint. I'm gonna break out the iPad and we're gonna do some work. You know, we're gonna trust the process. We're gonna follow our intuition and we're gonna make shit happen. That's it. Anyways, I'm gonna see y'all in a little bit. And yeah, be your own hype man. You got that.